Step 1, type Canvas into Google. Click on the first link that pops up, Canvas LMS. Click on Try It Free and enter your first name, last name, and account type, teacher, student, parent observer, or other. After signing up, you'll get to this page, which tells you it sent a link to your email. So check out your email and then log in. Next, it's time to create your course. Click on Courses, click on All Courses, and then click Add Course. Create a name for your course, then click Create Course. Next, we're going to create our course home page. So we'll go to the Pages section and then add a page. Click Add Page. I suggest titling this page Welcome to, and then whatever the name of your course is. We're going to add to this in a moment, but for now, let's save this. Click on View All Pages. Click this to publish. Now click the dots and click Use as Front Page. Next, while you're on your course home, look at the right side of your screen and click on Choose Home Page. This allows you to select what you'd like to display on the home page. I personally prefer to use Pages as a front page because I think it gives me more creativity and flexibility with how I want to design my visual layout of my course. There are a lot of ways you can structure your course. I'm going to share with you my favorite way, which is by making it more simple for the student view. To make it more simple, we're going to hide all of these except the home, announcements, and grades. To do that, you'll go to Settings, then click on Navigation, and anything you don't want students to see, you just drag and drop here. So we're going to take everything besides home, announcements, and grades and drag it down. Then hit Save. Now that we have the foundation of the course layout set up, it's time to make this engaging and visually stimulating for our students. Step 1 is to add your picture to your account. Go to Account, go to Profile, click to change your picture, and upload a picture that you'd like your students to see. Next, you can change how your students will see your name by clicking Edit Profile, and you can choose to put your full name, you can choose to put Ms. or Mr., however you want your students to see you. I like to add in the pronouns to help reinforce the idea of an inclusive learning environment. All right, these next steps are all about creating a visually engaging Canvas course for your students. To make this a little easier to follow along, if you go to your final projects, overview, and rubrics Google Doc and scroll down to the rubric for option C, you'll see that there is a Google Doc link here for how to help online course design step by step. So I'm going to take you through this step by step now. I just wanted you to be able to access this Google Doc if it helps you to click the hyperlinks that I'm about to walk through. All right, so you can see side by side my Canvas course and our Canvas tips and tricks. Starting at step 1, create a course logo. Instead of seeing this brown box here, let's have this show a course logo, like you see when you log in to your Canvas course for our Children's Movement course. To make your own course logo, I'd suggest going to Canva, or you can go to any free virtual design website that you'd prefer. Once in Canva, you can search for a specific item, like let's see, Canvas course logo, and it gives you some examples of logos. To create my course logo, I went to Canva and then clicked on logos. You can use a template, or you can start from scratch and add in your own elements. Once you're done, you'll hit download, save this to your computer, and then we'll upload it to Canvas. Now to add your logo to your course, you're going to go to your course, click on Settings, choose Image, be sure to hit Update Course Details, and now you can see we've added our image. Now it's time to create a course banner that the students will see right when they open up. your course homepage or when they open up your course. So in our children's movement class, this is our course banner. Notice that if I were to make this bigger and refresh my screen, this banner adapts to the size of the computer screen you're looking at. You can go back to Canva, and in the search bar, you can type in Canvas banners. You can pick a pre-designed one and edit it, or you can start from scratch, your choice. After you have your banner created, just like you did with the logo, you'll download it, save it to your computer, and now it's time to add it to your home page so that it shows up when students first log into your course. Then let's go back to Pages. Here's our home page that we need to add our banner to. We'll hit Edit, and right here we're at this step. And now I'm going to add a picture. If it doesn't show up on the screen like it does here, just click these 3 little dots, find the picture icon, and now upload your image. To make your course more accessible, whenever you're uploading an image, you can type in alt text, which is used by screen readers, so that if someone's using a screen reader, that alt text will be verbally said out loud to explain an image to your students who are using a screen reader. Then I'll hit Submit, and now we have our banner. Now, the main reason I enjoy using this Pages feature is because I like to make my home page of Canvas integrated. And to me, that means that students can access everything from the course from that home page. I like to resemble my home page as kind of like an app view that students would see on an iPad or their phone. I want things to be clickable. So when you see an image, I want that to be clickable. The way that I get my course to have these different sections so that everything isn't muddled together is I make a transparent table. To make a transparent table, I'm going to make sure my cursor is below my banner. Now I'm going to add a table. I'm just going to do 2 columns and 2 rows. Don't worry about seeing the grid lines yet. We'll take those away in a moment. I like to move this bar over, and I dedicate these spaces to my clickable logos and these spaces to text. So first, highlight these 2 columns, click Table, Cell, Merge Cells. Now here's where I'm going to type my larger font header that says Welcome to the class. So Welcome to Elementary Wellness. Now I can edit this font by highlighting it, changing it to whatever size font I'd like, making it bold if I'd like. I can choose to center it. Now here's where I'm going to add a description about my course. What is your course like? So imagine you're an elementary teacher and this was your student's course for either your elementary course or specifically for wellness or health or physical education. You can type your blurb here. So some of the questions that you should answer within this brief blurb are, what's the purpose of the course? And then, do we meet virtually 100% of the time? And if not, how is this designed to be a hybrid course? For example, is Canvas used for a flipped classroom where students watch a video and take a quiz before coming to class so that they can have more time for application of the activities during class time? If that's the case, how are you going to briefly explain that to your students to let them know what routine they should get in for when to check this course? So here you're getting students set up for the purpose of the course and their routine for accessing the course. Next, since I teach college classes, I always start by creating my course syllabus. As an elementary teacher, you might not be creating course syllabuses, but if you are creating any pieces of information that are important for your students or their families to understand about your course, you can link a logo like this syllabus icon here. So let me show you how you do that. I created this icon in Canvas. So now, just like I did to insert this image, I'm going to go back, add an image, hit submit. Now to make this clickable, I have it highlighted, and then I click this hyperlink. I have 2 options whenever I hyperlink something to my home page. I can either hyperlink it to an external link. So if I want to hyperlink it to a Google Doc For example, I would go to my Google Doc and hit share. Make sure it says anyone on the internet with this link can view. Hit copy link. And now when this is highlighted, I can click this drop down, click on external links, and then I paste the link I just copied from Google Docs. Now, whenever someone clicks on this from the home page, it'll take them to that document. Once we build course assessments, or if we upload course files, so if we choose not to use Google Docs, you can upload course files, and then you could go to this drop down and click on course, and you can add things from your course, which I'll show you later. All right, so now we have our welcome and introduction to give students an overview of how they're going to be interacting with this learning management system, with this Canvas course. Every once in a while, I like to hit save just to check out my progress and see if my link works. Beautiful. All right, so now we need to actually add the content that our students are going to engage with. You can design this in any way you want. Some of my suggestions are to make more visuals that students click on to take them to a new page that explains their content, or to use the model that I use for our children's movement class, which is the integrated course outline. If you want to use this integrated course outline, I suggest organizing it by weeks. Make sure the dates are always included. The topic, the specific activities, here's where you hyperlink items that you want to give to your students. And then homework, always due at the same time each week. Maybe you want to have the due date be before class. If that's the case, just make sure you specifically identify when it's due so that students get a visual reminder whenever they look at the course outline. So if you want to do a course outline like this, here's how you do that. Instead of building this table on your own, I've actually already built out some tables that you're welcome to use using HTML editor. So if you'd like to use a gray background that has 3 columns, column 1 is 15% of the width, and so on, you can copy and paste that. If you want a white background with 3 columns, all right, let's say you want to use the UIUC colors. You can click here and highlight, copy. Now you'll go back to your page and hit edit. Click here for the HTML editor. I want to get to the end of anything I already have, and then just hit paste. Click this again, and let's see how it came out. All right, so now that inserted a 2-column table, and you can edit this however you'd like. If you want to add another column, you can highlight this and click add column after. You can change your column widths however you'd like. And you can also change the background colors of your column. If you highlight the cells, click on Table, Cell, Cell Properties, Advanced, and Background Color. So if you want to change the colors, you can do it that way. If you want to play around and make your own HTML codes, you can do that by going to here, and this will allow you to create something and then copy and paste and put your own HTML code in here. I like to have colors that match the school colors, and to do that, you need to use the hex codes. Here are the hex codes for the University of Illinois. All right, and now you can see how this table has that white border rather than the black line border. So if you want to make this background border different, highlight this entire table, hit Table, Cell Properties, Advanced, Border Style, and Hidden. Then I hit Save. Now, when I hit Save, this stays organized, but you can't see the border, so it just looks a little cleaner. Another option, instead of using this table-like grid, is to use images. So, if I want to add images, I can click anywhere I want to add in the images, And I always like to start by inserting a table. And let's say I have 6 lessons within this unit. I'm going to make a table with 6 boxes. Now in each of these boxes, I'm going to add an image. In a nutrition course that I've taught before, I created avocados, and each avocado had a number on it and a due date. I made these in Canva. If I want to see more of my page that I'm editing, I can expand using that button, and to get it back to unexpanded, I can go to View, Full Screen. If I want these to be centered within their individual cell, I can click this and center each. Now I want to take that grid away, so I'm going to make my grid lines transparent. I highlight everything. I go to Table, Cell, Cell Properties, Advanced, Border Style, Hidden, Save. Now, let's say I want to have students only be interacting with these images rather than typing in here and hyperlinking. So what I do for my Kin 268 course is I type in here, I highlight, and then I either attach something from the course or an external link. For elementary students, you might want to make it more visually stimulating, where you avoid doing the course outline view, and instead, maybe you use this image view. So now my goal is to have one page for each of these avocados. Going to go back to a regular view, hit save. So now my game plan, if I want to go this route, is I want each of these to be hyperlinked. For your final project in this course, if you're choosing the Canvas option, you just need to create one lesson plan experience for your students. So you don't need to make all 6 of these hyperlinked, just one. But I do want you to think about what the experience would be like for your students in terms of, I want them to see their whole unit at one shot, even though it's not going to be hyperlinked. So now how do I get that to hyperlink to something? Well, it all goes back to my pages. Everything lives in your pages. I go to View All Pages. Now I'm going to add a page. This page I'm going to call Lesson 1, or whatever you want your students to see your lesson be called. Here is where I'm going to have the lesson activities for my students. Before I actually add that, let's just hit Save and Publish. Now I'm going to go back to my home page, click Edit, scroll down to the first avocado, click on that image, click this drop down, and now I'm clicking Course Links. Here I can hyperlink anything in terms of an assignment, a quiz, an announcement, or a page, which we're going to do here. So now I click on Lesson 1. I can exit out, and then I hit Save. If you are doing this option, make sure you describe here. To get started, click here, or have a big click here icon. Now I'll click this, and it'll take me directly to this lesson. Now I get to decide how I want this lesson to look for students. To show you how this might play out in a real scenario, this is a course I created for a school district's high school online physical education course. I created this to be a template for high school teachers to use and modify. So the teachers can copy and paste this and export it and import it into their course. Hyperlink this to any of their materials they want to share with students. They can choose to use the hyperlinked course outline layout or a page layout that looks something like this. So if you're doing the avocado option that we just did, I would suggest when your students get to your lesson, to your page that your lesson's on, to have one lesson per page. And you want to have your students see a clear outline of step-by-step what to do. So step 1, watch the video. Step 2, take the quiz. Step 3, reflect. So if you'd like to model your page off of what you just saw here, the way that you do that would be to edit, If you want to add a banner here, you can, to tell them like this is lesson 1. For a nutrition class that I taught, I created banners that had a visual of sticky notes for what they do each step of the week. So pretend any banner's there, doesn't need to be anything fancy. Let's get our cursor below this banner. And now I'm going to insert a table. I'm going to choose to do this with 3 rows and 2 columns. The left-hand column is where I'm going to put step 1, step 2, step 3. If I'm going to be using this as a flipped classroom, where step 1 is I have students watch this video. Step 2 is to take this quiz. And then step 3 is to come to class ready to have fun. I can play around with the formatting of this, make it larger, make it visually stimulating. And ultimately then my goal is to create a video lecture that the students actually see me teaching them content. So how do you create a video? Well, you can create one using your cell phone, or you can create one using an online tool. My favorite online tool for creating videos is Screencast-O-Matic. So I'll go to Screencast-O-Matic. If you don't have an account, you can make one for free. So now I can click on Launch Recorder. And what I like about Screencast-O-Matic is that it allows me to capture my screen and myself for my students. So once that loads, you'll see this dotted line show up and you can move it around, and whatever is inside of this will be captured on the recording. Here is where you can choose to have your face be. If you don't want to have your screen, you can choose to just record your webcam. You'll hit record, and whenever you're done with your video, you can download that video to your computer, or you can upload it to your free Screencast-O-Matic website. That's what I choose to do. Once I save my video to my Screencast-O-Matic online, I can go to that video and then click here, and this will allow me to embed it in my course. I like to embed videos whenever possible, and whenever you're doing an individual page for a lesson, it makes a lot of sense to embed your video. Students are much more likely to click on videos when they actually see the video rather than just a link. So I'm going to scroll down, and I can choose what size I want my video to be. Responsive, meaning it'll adapt to wherever you place it. I'm going to choose small, copy my code, come back here to my page. Whenever I want to embed something, I click this cloud, I click here, and I paste, and I submit. Now maybe I want to format this a little bit. All right, next, for your final project, you also need to create an assessment or multiple assessments. For your video, remember that your video doesn't have to be super long. Ideally, it should be between 3 to 7 minutes. If you're doing a flipped classroom, try to make your video focus on the cognitive content you want students to learn from your lesson. You're going to be creating your lesson plan using this template. So try to knock out your cognitive essential content within your video, and you can also knock out all of your essential content within your video if you'd like. Then when the students get to class, they have a better understanding of what they're doing and they can do more application. Next, for your final project, you do need to create assessments. So it needs to be at least one assessment. You need to show me that you know how to create an assessment that measures each of the domains. Assessments should be directly related to your specific objective. So for example, if I say students will be able to define flexibility, my assessment should include a question that might say, what is the definition of flexibility? So let's pretend that that is my lesson cognitive objective. Students will be able to define flexibility. And I decide I want to make a quiz for my students. So now I'm going to go to quizzes, click add quiz, name my quiz. I like to try to keep my quiz names all uniform. So whatever I call my first lesson, like lesson 1, quiz, try to keep them in that same pattern, like lesson 2 quiz, so students know exactly what to expect. Here you can give a description about the quiz if you'd like. Some things you might consider adding are how many questions the students will get. So for this, I'll put, this is a 3-question quiz. You can take this quiz 1 time. So please complete this quiz after watching this lesson's video and before coming to class on and then the specific date. If you want to have students have shuffled answers or a time limit, this is if you want to let students see the correct answers. I personally always have the correct answers be shown the day after the quiz is due so that students can see the correct answers, but students are a lot less likely to share the answers with their friends if you wait to show the answers until after the quiz is due. If you want them to see 1 question at a time, you can click this. And then here's where you set the due date. I always choose the until for the same time as the due date because if not, students will be allowed to take the quiz late. So it all depends on your policies. If you allow students to turn things in late, but you're going to have an automatic point deduction, you can choose to leave this until blank. And you can also choose to have it match your due date if you don't want students to be able to add after the quiz. Something I really like about Canvas is, let's say one of your students tells you they're going on a family vacation and you're extending their deadline. Well, you can have the due date the same for everybody, but then add another one where you select the specific student here and their own specific due date. And you can do that as many times as you need to. So now I'm going to hit save. I'm a frequent saver. Now I'll go back and click on the question tab. If you want to create a question group, that's where you can tell it to pick X amount of questions per this question bank that you're creating. So if you want students to get different questions, you would create the group and then add a question within the group. If you want all students to get the same questions, you can just simply add question. Here I want it to be multiple choice. And now I'm going to put in a question that directly assesses my cognitive objective, which is students will be able to define flexibility. So my question is, what's the correct definition of flexibility? Once you have in your answers, you want to make sure you click the arrow for what your correct answer is. So since that's the correct answer, I'm going to hit update question. If I want to see the question details, I can click this. So now technically, my objective for the cognitive objective of students will be able to define flexibility, I've assessed that. So that would be done. If I want to create an open-ended question, I can select essay question. I can ask my question here, and maybe this is your affective question where you're asking students to reflect. Note that since I can't physically see the students, unless I'm creating like a Flipgrid assignment where I'm going to see a video of students, I can't assess them on their psychomotor skills. So I'm going to save and publish this, go back to my home page, click on my lesson 1. I'm going to edit this page. I'm going to put in my quiz. I can either type quiz and highlight it, or I can use a quiz graphic or a quiz icon. Click on that, click on course links, go to quizzes, and now I can add my lesson 1 quiz. All right, to summarize, we've created our lesson page. We've added whatever header we want that's visually stimulating for our students and that makes sense with your lesson. You've given them clear-cut steps of what they need to do. So watch this video. We've embedded our video. Take this quiz. Our quiz is hyperlinked to this icon. And then step 3, come to class ready to have fun. Another example of how you can structure your course is here. This was the iPal's virtual wellness program that I created in the fall of 2020. This was for K through 5th graders. We had our course banner, an introduction about what the course was. Here was the orientation slides that taught them about the course, also helpful for their parents. Whenever you're working with elementary students, assume that their parents are going to be helping them in some capacity with their learning management system. So make sure there's information there for your parents that can help them help their students. You don't have to do this for your final project, but I always suggest making a welcome video to your course that teaches students how to navigate your course. I used Screencast-O-Matic to record this. This is an overview of the 4 weekly activities that students would do in this course. And then here's a course outline of our calendar. I used the course outline that also showed them the specific days each were due, since there were different due dates for this. Maybe you want to model something like this if you're doing this before class in a flipped learning environment, like you want to have them have activity 1 due before their class on Wednesday, and so forth. Then within each of these, I have directions hyperlinked to the specific activity. You can also consider adding a Meet Your Teacher section. Since there were multiple teachers in this program, you can see multiple teachers listed here. In our children's movement class, you can see at the bottom that there's a Meet Your Instructor section. Email address, a picture, some fun information about us. And then I like to include on all my courses inclusivity banners to let students know that I believe Black Lives Matter and I support the LGBTQ+ community. All right, after your course is done, your last step on Canvas is to add me to your course as a student. To do that, you'll go to People. You should see your information listed here. Then you'll click Add. You can invite me using my Illinois or my Gmail email address. Just make sure I'm a student added to the correct course. Then you'll hit Next. And the following users are ready to be added, so you just need to hit Add Users. And then it'll show you pending that you've sent me the request. And once I accept, it'll show that I've accepted it, and it'll show some activity over here and when I logged in. One of the main reasons I created this assignment as an option for our final project is in lieu of COVID, we've seen how quickly we can transfer education to online. To help prepare you to teach online, this project was born. And then a secondary reason I really like this project is because it gets you familiar with Canvas. And I like to personally keep my own version of Canvas where I import the courses that I teach. So at Heartland Community College, I teach personal health and wellness. I imported this course from my Heartland account to here so that I can always have this course and what I've built no matter where I'm teaching at the moment. To export or import courses, you go to Settings, go to Import if you want to import content, and Export if you want to export content.